A slideshow collaborating and planning for AI across the UW.
All right, everybody. Let's continue our conversations with AI. Welcome to Collaborating and Planning for AI across University of Wisconsin. Join Representative Beth Schaefer, online CEO and Deputy CIO at UW-Milwaukee, Todd Shechter, CTO at UW-Madison, and Suzanne Traxler, Assistant Chancellor for Learning and Information Technology and CIO at UW-Stout, how they approach and use AI on different campuses. Thank you.
On a video screen of the conference in the corner of the screen, Sue Traxler approaches a lectern.
Good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to our session. So we'll spend the next 25 minutes or so talking to you today about different ways that we've approached and taken to focusing on AI on each of our campuses. So as Tappan mentioned, I'm Sue Traxler, and I'm the CIO at UW-Stout. And Todd here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Todd Shechter. I serve as Chief Technology Officer for UW-Madison, and my pronouns are he, him, his. And we should probably go like that.
Keep going. Thank you.
Slide, meet the presenters.
And Beth, do you want to just say hi to make sure sound works again, okay?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Beth Schaefer, University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, where I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Deputy CIO, and happy to be with you here today.
Thanks, Beth. We hear you very well. Good. So to kind of set the stage for you, so our as the slides kind of highlight, all of our campuses are experiencing and experimenting with and investing in AI in very different levels and in very different ways. And so for this session, we're going to highlight for you some of our existing work and the directions that we're taking, as well as some of the future directions that we're focusing on, and how we're hoping that we can focus collaboratively on some AI initiatives. And this work includes everything from some faculty pilot projects to investments in collaborative planning across the UW. So with that, I will go ahead and have Beth talk about the next slide.
Sure. Thanks, Sue. As you see on this slide, we have 3 different stories to tell you, and we are doing this from one UW vision. So some of our themes that we've seen as we've been working through these efforts at our different campuses and gathering as this collaborative group have been community and collaboration. And we're in the spirit of collegiality, sharing a lot with each other at through each of our campuses. And so today, Milwaukee, Madison, and Stout will all be sharing our different views of how we're approaching this.
The slide highlights 3 collaborative opportunities: building space, leverage, and support.
So I wanted to just talk a little bit about maybe collaboration opportunities for all of us to think about. I think one thing that's interesting about AI, maybe different from some other technologies, is that it's kind of coming at us at the same time. Whether you're at Milwaukee, whether you're at Stout, whether you're at Madison, any of the schools, it's kind of coming at us at the same time. And what I hope can happen is that what one school learns, what one group learns, what one university learns can help benefit others, where we take a 1 + 1 and maybe it equals 5, maybe it equals 6, but it equals more than 2. And I think there's a lot of potential where we can work together as the universities of Wisconsin to do that. I think that the opportunities to understand how AI impacts different regions of the state are really exciting. We might think about what happens in Door County, where agriculture is a big thing, and how AI helps with agriculture and all the different ag things that happen in Door County. We might think about the tech sector in Milwaukee. Clearly, we've seen a lot in the news recently about data center investment in Milwaukee from Microsoft and others. That's largely driven by AI demands. In northwestern Wisconsin, there's a large manufacturing outreach center, and that's based out of UW-Stout, and thinking about how AI can help with manufacturing. Coming back to Madison, large research implications. And one to call out is something that happens in our School of Medicine and Public Health with AI around radiology. And how can AI help a doctor read scans, read x-rays that come off of human subjects? So I'm excited about the possibility of working together across the universities of Wisconsin. I think about some of the other opportunities. Maybe there's an opportunity around shared software licensing, where something that Milwaukee negotiates with OpenAI perhaps could benefit others. Maybe there's something around shared policy, where a policy that one school drafts and gets approved helps to benefit another school. Maybe something around Workday, perhaps, where one school might innovate in Workday in a way that other schools can benefit from, or bringing it back to Canvas. We have a lot of demand and a lot of ask for digital teaching assistants in Canvas, or 24/7 teaching assistants, if you will. Maybe there's something that one school does in Canvas that can help benefit others. But what I know is that collaboration is our key forward. That's our path forward. That's the Wisconsin idea, and that is something that all of us hold true, and that it's something that's very special about working at UW-Madison. Next, we're going to move into some case studies, and we're going to begin with UW-Stout.
Text on a slide describes opportunities for building institutional capacity.
So at Stout, we've really dove into AI. We've put a chunk of money into AI, and I'm going to talk about a number of the areas of investment. Last summer, we put together an AI steering committee across campus participation. We also hired an AI integration technologist. That position focuses on working closely with our instructors across the campus. She has been very busy focusing on partnering with both our faculty and instructional staff, as well as some of our student populations and our student org groups. She has been helping our instructors fold AI into their teaching, basically. She's been busy hosting AI weekly meetups across campus where we were doing deeper dives into various AI topics. She's also been partnering with a number of UW system initiatives, as well as doing presentations, and she's been a conduit to a number of our industry partners. So by identifying what does our industry partners need and bringing that back to our instructors to help fold that into some of our curriculum. We've been focused also on, again, folding that teaching into our curriculum, folding it into some of our research projects. We have started a Copilot project. So we've had a pilot project rolling out Microsoft Copilot. We bought 50 licenses to start with, rolled that out first to our IT staff. Then we extended that pilot to professionals outside of our IT shop, made sure that our Microsoft tenant was secure. And then everybody that participated in that Copilot project needed to be part of a weekly discussion group where they were sharing what they've learned, what some of their successes or failures were with Copilot. If they were not finding their license useful, they handed it back in. If they were finding it useful, they continued to use it. This spring term, we had one of our faculty we bought additional licenses, and one of our instructors was actually using Copilot with their students in her coursework. And so, again, experimenting as a pilot project, but experimenting with Microsoft Copilot. We also identified 11 or 12 faculty that were AI fellows, and we funded them a stipend, and they were able to do a deeper dive and explore AI in their discipline. And so they were doing some more exploratory AI work, whether it was building out chatbots in their area of discipline or a deeper dive in their area of expertise, and just experimenting and sharing their learning and best practices in their area. We built out last summer, like I said, an AI advisory committee that met on a regular basis, identifying best practices. We put a short AI policy in place last spring, summer, but basically it was embracing AI, not restricting it. We also really embraced AI literacy across the campus, making sure that it was clear that we really wanted people using AI, not restricting AI. So speakers across campus, we offered instructors to attend a teaching with AI cohort via EDUCAUSE. We also had a number of professional development sessions for staff, mini sessions, working again with faculty on building learning outcomes into some of their coursework. And then we're building out an AI Canvas course right now. And then we have a very strong AI student org group on campus, 70 plus students. That group ended up doing a presentation to the Board of Regents, I think in the March Board of Regents session. And our AI technologist, who's very versed in AI, has been publishing a monthly newsletter via LinkedIn, and she has over 11,000 subscribers. So go ahead and subscribe. Anybody can subscribe, not just Stout people. So I would say, this is just Stout's approach, but our chancellor wants every instructor to eventually find a way that they are folding AI into their teaching. Not that they are teaching only AI, but again, folding teaching into their coursework so that our students are graduating with the degree and know how to use AI with that degree, if that makes sense. And so this is just an example of Stout's journey in using AI in the last year. So with that, I'll hand it off to Todd.
Advancing research.
Thank you, Sue. So for the one kind of area that I wanted to highlight at UW-Madison is how I see AI being used in research across the university from an IT perspective. One of the things that we do at UW-Madison is we offer as a platform a service for Amazon Web Services, for Microsoft Azure, and for Google Cloud Platform, Azure, AWS, and GCP as we know them. One of the great things about having those as platforms where they're available to folks across the university is that each of those three vendors have invested highly in AI tooling, in access to large language models, and access and making available platforms for folks to build from. So if you're a researcher and you have something, you have a project, you have an idea, something that you want to do, we have a public cloud team that you can go to. You can get an account set up. We take care of the billing. We have a cybersecurity team that helps review if there's a risk analysis that needs to happen, or if there's a discussion around the data that you need to use in your AI research. It's very neat to have that team together so that as researchers need to get started, we've got that platform available to them. And again, each of those three companies, AWS, Azure, and GCP, have done a ton of work to make their tools available to students, staff, and faculty. They have to pay for it. It's a pay-as-you-go service, but they're able to get going very, very quickly. If I think about some of the examples that you may hear from the School of Medicine and Public Health, for example, they have a platform called Platform X. That is built completely within the Microsoft Azure tenant. That is built within a service that our public cloud team offers that allows them to jumpstart their ability to research AI, to do experiments with AI, and to use multiple different large language models. And that's one of the great things about using a platform approach is that for students, for researchers, for faculty members who need access to things like OpenAI's large language models, multiple versions of it, the Claude models, all sorts of different large language models that are out there. We can provide access to those today through our public cloud team and through the resources that we have available. So I would encourage you, and this is something that I hope we can help share with our colleagues across the state, if you're working with researchers and they need a quick way to get going with AI, if they need tooling, if they need education, if they need help, come to us because we have a lot of these tools available on our campus. We're not a university that provides ChatGPT, for example, to students, staff, and faculty. However, we do provide the access to the large language models from OpenAI that ChatGPT is based off of. And I've seen use case after use case where folks have been able to get started very quickly in their research, scaling to what the cloud provides, using the security of the cloud, using all of the tools that are available in the cloud to help advance their research and really decrease that time to science. And very excited for the progress that our public cloud team has made and what kind of their roadmap is for the future. With that, we'll hear next from Beth at UW-Milwaukee.
Slide, institutional momentum.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks, Todd. So I have some notes here to share about what Milwaukee's been doing, and it started with a chancellor's initiative for an AI task force. And the folks that started that on our campus were Brian Thompson, who's a direct report to the chancellor and is our Chief Innovation and Partnership Officer. Parush Papatla, who is our co-director of our Northwestern Mutual Data Science Institute and also a professor of marketing. And then Scott Jenung, who's our AVC for IT and our CIO. From this task force, there were subgroups that were identified, and those included education and curriculum, student success, research, business operations, infrastructure and data, and responsible AI. These subgroups identified contributed to a total of 52 use cases that surfaced. And the AI task force also outlined what we're calling a Panther AI pilot, which launched last fall, with our Microsoft Copilot chat with enterprise data protections with our licenses at UW-M. So a major outcome of the task force is that we have an overall AI governance group on campus now. And we also have an IT ethics and privacy group, which was a recommendation of the Responsible AI original task force subgroup. Both of these groups are representative of the campus population. We're currently, as Todd had been mentioning before, working on how Milwaukee can negotiate a contract with OpenAI for a ChatGPT pilot project for our campus. It'll include a number of licenses that'll be allocated throughout the campus in a to-be-determined process through our AI governance group. Some expectations and starting points for us within the AI landscape at UW-M will be to provide support to enable use cases, provide guidance to the campus, and to be informed of AI procurement activities to catalog through those services. So we're working with our purchasing folks on campus in their cloud software process to identify these AI solutions that are being procured at UW-M. We're also working to establish an AI accelerator, and this is an AI community of practice at UW-M that will report to the AI governance group as an outcome of the AI task force. So we're developing a new approach at UW-M to support AI at our institution, one that serves as a hub for innovation and a mechanism for advancing strategic priorities. On one side, this effort will function as a nimble, informal community of practice. It'll provide flexible spaces for faculty and staff to explore ideas, share insights, and collaborate across disciplines. Our current idea is that participation in this group is going to be open. People can come and go as they wish without needing to formally join or commit. And then on the other side, the structure will help us organize and mobilize around institutionally significant AI projects, such as Panther AI. We're seeing that these initiatives will require dedicated staff participation, and we'll need to understand how to best support that work, whether through release time compensation or other incentives. We're currently working with campus leadership to look to allocate specific funding for these AI efforts. And one more thing I thought I would mention is that UW-Milwaukee is involved in another AI collaborative effort in the Milwaukee area, and it's called the Milwaukee CIO Collaboration. And that includes UW-Milwaukee, the Milwaukee School of Engineering, Marquette University, the Medical College of Wisconsin, and Waukesha County Technical College. So in a way, as we're working with our colleagues across the state, we're also working within the Milwaukee area. So we're really trying to push as a campus to keep moving forward with our AI efforts.
Slide, connecting the dots across campus. Text describes strategies to unify a shared vision.
Back to Sue, I think.
Thanks, Beth. So starting this spring, I'm trying to pull it back together again. We are trying to, as I describe how we're trying to connect the dots here, we formed the UW System AI group, which is participation from each of the campuses that are interested. And for some of the campuses, that might be the CIO role, that might be a different member of IT at their campus. And so it's varying roles. And we're meeting every other week. We're looking at identifying what are some efforts that we can coordinate and collaborate on as we look at how do we try to meet each of our campus goals and priorities around AI, but also try to move towards collaboration and identify opportunities for alignment and efficiencies as we move forward with things like AI literacy, responsible integrations, training, implementation, and just opportunities to reduce reduction and just areas of collaboration where it makes sense. So, one of those groups is an AI literacy group. And so we have somebody from Madison and Todd's World, and somebody from Stout, Emily, who's our AI integration coordinator, that's going to co-lead that group as they look at how do we move forward with AI literacy across the UW. What are efficiencies that can be gained? How can we share resources, for example? So with that, Todd, you want to go ahead and wrap us up here?
Yeah.
Slide, what are you seeing? With conversation prompts.
All right, so we have, what do we have, about 10 minutes left or so? And we're hoping to have some conversation today. We're hoping to have some conversation this afternoon. And we had 3 ideas for conversation starters, but really that we can take this conversation where folks would like to take it. When you look at AI, when you look at the tools and services that are provided at your university, whichever university that may be, what are the barriers that you see? What are the barriers that are emerging on your campus? What's the opportunity space? Where do you see the opportunity for partnerships? And then how do folks think we can best support students, staff, and faculty in this emerging space? Love to hear folks' thoughts on this afternoon. Mary, there's a microphone. Yeah. Do we have, okay, we'll take Mary and then we'll go one in chat. And we got to use the microphones so that our friends online can hear. Yay, loud and clear.
So, first thing that came to mind with those questions, and just speaking on like the AI literacy, as well as kind of supporting faculty and staff in this space. I was at the Teaching and Learning Symposium here at UW-Madison, and there was a request for an AI conference for all spaces. I think I heard it both in the Teaching and Learning Symposium as well as the academic staff. I don't know the name of the conference. There was an academic staff prior, just before the Teaching and Learning. And in both those spaces, really looking for a space campus-wide to start having these conversations and skilling up.
That's a great idea, Mary. Are you folks doing anything at Stout, like from a campus-wide perspective, or Beth from a Milwaukee perspective?
So at Stout, we're having a number of campus-wide speakers come in, but not a conference. So it's a great idea to think about something that we might have more centrally that would be open to the UWs and anybody could participate. That's maybe it's more instructional focused that instructors could attend. So that's a great takeaway that Todd and I can take back to one of the working groups. So great idea. Beth, was there anything that you're talking through?
At Milwaukee, we've been having AI town halls that have resulted in a lot of good conversation. We also have some discipline-specific training and lectures and offerings that are going on campus, and we're trying to cohesively bring that together in our campus-wide AI website. So we will be able to provide all of that data, recordings, training opportunities, those kinds of things there.
Great idea.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
I think we have a question online.
Yeah, the online question is, what about regular employees with an undergraduate degree or no degree? Do we have access to do research with these folks with AI tools? Do we need PhD, a PI sponsor, or an active student, or have so that could have access to these resources?
Yeah, I can speak to this from the Madison perspective, perhaps. When I talked about the tools that are available from Azure, from Google, and from AWS, those are actually can be made available to students, staff, and faculty. We operate that on a chargeback service. So folks kind of come with their own funding, come with their own account for that. I'll give you one example that we're working on right now is a couple of pilots on the administrative side of campus. Our administrative side in the Madison budget office has a lot of questions about data. They have a lot of questions about insights that they can get from data. Sakai has been helping them spin up a couple of different pilots that are roughly based in Azure. But that's a great use case that goes beyond teaching and learning. It goes beyond research and really kind of thinks about the administrative side of campus. And you know, I would recognize that this is not easy for everyone to get into. We do have training available, though. There are instructional courses that folks can attend. And I would say that each of these firms make it a whole lot easier to get into AI using their platforms than if you were to take a different route.
So at Stout, we're not as focused on research as we are in teaching. We have kind of made a commitment right now, but keep in mind, we all realize the landscape changes every day with AI. Right now, we're kind of in the Microsoft bucket, and so have made a commitment that we are going to kind of go down the path of the Microsoft tool set. And so we are starting to develop tools and chat bots or bots in general using some of the Microsoft tools. We are, again, making sure and working with a third-party vendor to make sure our tenant is secure before we roll out some of that access to too many administrative users across campus. But our access to some of those tools are starting to be available to other users across campus as well, not just our instructors. We're really not looking at whether they're researchers or not researchers, because research kind of isn't part of our formula. And then I would say students are part of our formula. So our student clubs are active, especially our student AI club is actively using AI tools in some of the exploration and work that they're doing. Did I check all the boxes there that there were? Oh, and then trying to think what else. There was another idea I had. So we are starting to see in the kind of administrative side that, you know, obviously our vendor partners are starting to embrace AI in a lot of their tool sets. And so we're starting to head down that path to identify which of those tools make sense to start embracing a whole lot more. So we're starting, our chancellor really wanted us moving forward as quickly as we could in that instructional area. That really was the biggest priority and where we needed to put a lot of our resources to start with. And now we're playing a little bit of catch up, but not a bad catch up, but focusing on all the other areas. So Beth, I don't know if you wanted to add in from the Milwaukee perspective.
Sure. So our AI governance group has been inclusive of all members of our community, and this has come up in the way that how our administrative folks can be able to use tools like this. And we're really looking back at those use cases and the tool sets and business process to be able to match those up with what the needs of the campus are. So I think we'll be continually working through that as we see new tool sets become available, as we see business process change. We know the teaching and learning side, like you, Sue, were you know, our first foray into this at UWM, and really are strong in their area with it. We are also playing a little bit of catch up in some other areas. We know our researchers are strong in their AI, and we just want to be able to get to that place where we're inclusive of everyone at UWM.
Thanks, Beth. Our Copilot pilot, for example, had administrators and employees from across campus that we were folding in as the pilot moved along, for example. So, okay, next.
Nick.
Hi. I have something that's not as much a barrier as a challenge that I see from a staff perspective. There are a lot of business cases where you can see a need where AI would be useful for the day-to-day operations of whatever part of the university you work in. And in addition to learning how to use the tools effectively, there's a learning curve for a lot of people who aren't steeped in like data policy around thinking of the raw materials of their day-to-day job in a new way around how to use these tools within policy that has been obscure to them up to this point. For instance, like when I'm working with registration data for an event, is that internal? Is that sensitive? It depends on what it is. And you need to have a little guidance in that area that I think is hard to come by. And often the easy answer is just do it, you know? And I think there's a lot of people who are just doing it right now and maybe not even using Copilot or whatever the approved tools are. So I see that as something where educating and maybe also finding a way to meet people where they are a little more in the general populace of the staff and student body is something we could work on.
Can I see a show of hands for those who agree with Nick? I think that's a huge issue. I think that the classification of our data and understanding the responsibility that we have using institutional data, is it public, is it sensitive, is it restricted? I think that's a really good point, Nick, and I do think that's something that we as a community need to work on. Of course, we have our approved tools, we have our Geminis, we have our Copilots, and those are not approved for restricted and sensitive data. I think Lindsay might like to add to the conversation.
The desperation to use AI. Literally, as soon as the Copilot license was announced, there's a flood of researchers. Oh, can I use this? Can I use this? Can I use this? No, you absolutely may not put people's private health records into AI, but we should still be able to do that. It's just that needs to be treated separately. So one of the barriers is definitely compliance and privacy and also granularity. A lot of ITSM tools now are coming with AI built in, and it's great for canned responses, for cleaning up writing, for search. But in my particular case, I can't use it because it's not HIPAA compliant, but also certain teams do not want their data from their tickets being fed into AI, regardless of whether it's HIPAA compliant or not. Like cybersecurity team, they don't want the information in their tickets being fed that could possibly be surfaced in a user support services ticket, which is totally valid. So AI is great, but I think the rush into AI has definitely left compliance and regulation concerns behind that absolutely need to be addressed as soon as possible.
Yeah. Thank you, Lindsay. We are at the end of our time. Is there a comment online or?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think it's regarding teaching and learning and creating a shared space, and then providing across all campuses, and also providing best practices on using those tools and sharing those tools.
Yeah, great. All right, folks, if you could join me in thanking Sue from Milwaukee, I'm sorry, Sue from Stout, Beth from Milwaukee for being here today. And thank you everyone who joined us both in the room and the 80+ people that are online. Thank you, everybody.
The slideshow ends. The video of the conference room appears, full of round tables and a projector screen.